cat Yankees came down with cash in hand, paid in postscript while sucking dry the land. Plot hung ain't an if, but it's a
when I get the time or feel like doing the content, which is mainly a time issue. I always want to film. I'm always jotting stuff down, but just with the kids and the business, and yeah, there's no way I could run multiple channels, so I'm having to be very careful. But like, you can't show screwing a suppressor on the gun. You have to do that off camera. Or sometimes I'll be editing and I'm like, oh crap, you know, I've got this clip of me putting the suppressor on. I want to keep the sound, whatever I was talking about while I was doing that. So then I do just to like keep the sound and do a text thing like YouTube. You know, thanks to YouTube, I can't show this part or whatever. Not supposed to have magazines over 25 rounds now on camera.
Yeah, so that was something I was telling Sean and Skylar that Eric and Chad had figured out a couple of years back, was that if you use a 20-round mag, they're less likely to bother you about it.
It's insane to me though, because that's not a 30 rounds, not high capacity. That's standard capacity mag.
I think people are just so uneducated on the subject, which, by the way, I'm a negligent discharge from a customer with poor firearm safety.
Alec Baldwin came in.
Alec Baldwin came in. Everybody, please help me welcome Nick. I know him as the Hungry Handgunner, but we'll talk about his channel name change to the Archetype of Man.
Yes, sir.
So introduce yourself to our audience, Nick. Tell everybody about how you got started and what your channel's all about.
Hey guys, I'm Nick. I run the Archetype of Man channel on YouTube. It was formerly known as Hungry Handgunner. Mostly firearm stuff, some stuff with the motorcycle rides that I like, especially this time of year. Homeschooling the kids, so kind of our reasoning behind that and our journey doing that. Some survival stuff. It's mostly just gun stuff. But I got started doing YouTube. I originally was doing written reviews on guns, and then somebody wanted me to make a video, so I made a video and discovered that I enjoyed doing it. So now I write a whole lot less, but I do enjoy making the videos quite a bit.
Yeah, you're very well spoken. When I watch your videos, I mean, you really have not just logic behind what you're saying, but morality.
I appreciate that.
You know, yeah, you are a genuinely good dude. And I think that people see that when they watch your channel, especially when they start seeing that you're not just a gun guy, you're a family guy, you're a motorcycle guy. You know, you started a landscaping business, so you're a small business owner, right? And you like to help support local. You know, there's a lot of really cool things about you. Plus, I mean, I'm so jealous of where you live.
It is fun.
It's the best place to live and own a motorcycle.
Well, this time of year it gets a little scary riding. There's just people are coming up, watching the leaves change, going to the apple houses, and everybody's minds are on everything but driving. Which I get it. It's beautiful, but I don't go out on two wheels as much as I'd like right there. I gotta time it right. Normally go through the week and not the weekend, but.
Well, Devin and I will get you on some knobbies, and we'll get away from all the traffic and get out in the dirt. But yeah, man. So you used to be known as the Hungry Handgunner, and how many followers do you have on YouTube, or subscribers rather?
It's 21,700, I think.
Which is
somewhere around there.
Like, for a small channel, that's absolutely incredible.
I remember starting out, like getting my first 100 subscribers. I was looking at channels that are at the size I'm at now, and I was like, they've made it. And then I hit, 10,000, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting close. And then I hit 20,000, and now I'm looking, I'm like, still haven't made it yet. But it comes. It's just time and ebbs and flows. You know, sometimes if you have an opinion that the masses don't like, you'll see the numbers drop. But normally they catch back up,
Well, and I think I've probably mentioned this 1,000 times already on camera, but I feel like we're so against it being gun channels on YouTube. You know, they restrict so much of what we do. We were just talking about it off camera about how, they want you to use 25 round mags or less, no 30 round mags. Got to screw a suppressor on off camera.
Oh, yeah.
Just all these little silly rules like somebody's not going to figure out how to screw on their suppressor.
Right. I
You know?
mean, righty tighty, lefty loosey, but we are the bad guys for just showing that. The idea that somehow by us being into firearms and showing our passion for it or helping people make educated choices, that we're responsible for the actions people take with firearms that are bad, it's kind of laughable. And the sad thing is that the more that we can show on camera, especially during COVID, when people were locked down in their houses, you couldn't do things, and then you've got people going over gun safety. I mean, a lot of these people were scared. We didn't know what the world was going to do. They'd never been around guns, and you're trying to show them how to field strip their gun, how to clear it. This is all firearm safety stuff to keep accidents from happening. And the more informed people are, less likely they are, to shoot themselves cleaning a gun or shoot somebody else because they didn't know it was loaded. They dropped the mag, thought it was unloaded, and there's still one in the chamber. And you run into a situation where you're trying to help people, even some malfunctions, right? The gun, you got a round in the chamber, you can't get it out, something's broken, gun's still dangerous. And if you try to walk somebody through that on a video, YouTube is claiming that you're showing how to modify a gun, but you're really not. You're trying to educate people, and then we're taking the brunt of their policies, which are ultimately enacted by people that don't know the first thing about guns, which is sad. Isn't
it silly that they're stopping us from showing people how to do stuff that promotes firearm safety?
Mm-hmm. It's sad.
It is, and I find I find it to be annoying. We work really hard at what we do. We have a passion for what we do, and we genuinely care about the people who. Well, hello. The gimbal just decided to do its own thing. We genuinely care about the people who come through the doors here.
Absolutely.
And so, and we care about ourselves too, right? We don't want to end up like Nate here, where a customer comes into the store, has absolutely no knowledge on how to use a firearm. Like the other day we had a customer bring us a Glock 19, and somehow a round was loaded into the chamber the wrong way around.
Ooh.
No.
Yeah.
Shoved in.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I don't even know how that happens.
No, they couldn't watch a YouTube video because showing people how to modify guns.
Yeah. It was. I mean, glad he had the wherewithal to come see us.
Right.
And but again, like just the other day, we had a customer picking up a firearm that we custom painted for him. We knew that the gun was not loaded, but when we handed the gun to him, he flagged one of our employees, and we have started saying it more, just because, and we're not doing it in a disrespectful way, but we definitely are doing it in a way to let people know, hey, mind your safety, please.
Right.
Like firearms are a tool made to kill.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to keep that in mind. And as gun owners, we have this great responsibility, to all the other law-abiding gun owners to mind our safety and not mess it up for the rest of us.
Absolutely.
When you worked at Mountain Man Armory over in Jasper, did you experience that?
Oh, yeah.
Like negligent?
I got more guns pointed at me than I can even recount. And I remember one time a guy came in and he had a Glock, and he's like, "It's unloaded." And he took the mag out, and he's waving it around. He flagged everybody, and it's like, "Man, did you check the chamber?" "Oh, I never keep one in the chamber." So he hands it across to us. I forget, he was wanting different sights installed or something. And I rack the slide, and a 10mm shell comes out, and I was like, "Oh, this is why we got to be careful." And he was embarrassed, and rightfully so. And I think that, fortunately, nobody got hurt. And I think he was just embarrassed enough that he might learn from that. But yeah, the gun safety thing, there's the 4 firearms rules. You have to break more than one at a time for something to go wrong, and they exist for a reason. And like you were saying, we do have that responsibility. We have the right, and 100%, but we do have that responsibility. Everything from safe handling to keeping them stored safely at home. I've got young kids. Big reason I own the guns that I do is to protect them. So if I let them have unfettered access to these guns and something happens, it kind of defeats the purpose. So I'm a big believer in keeping them locked up at home or on your person.
Yeah, and the last thing you ever want to have happen is, something terrible with one of your firearms, injuring or killing one of your children.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Or another family member, whoever it may be. I mean, that is the last thing you would want to have happen with your firearm.
Which, to be fair, I'm not saying that we need laws. I think that we just need to self-police the community, have these conversations.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, it's awesome that we are able to at least have this conversation. Though we're not showing the stuff that we're talking about, we can at least talk about it. They
Right.
can't stop us from doing that.
Not yet.
Well, we'll see, yeah. So what is your plan with the channel?
I'm going to keep on making content now that landscaping's slowing down. I'll be able to film a little bit more this time of year and get out a little bit more. It's not going to be as hot either, which will be nice. I'm wanting to get more into some of the off-the-wall stuff. I've really gotten into lever actions and revolvers the last year, so kind of tweaking that and getting better with them and tips and tricks that I come across along the way. I'd like to get out and take a Caleb Giddings revolver class, so I think that would be really cool.
Heck yeah.
I think he might be the next Michalek, so he's very fast with the revolver, and he's won a lot of championships for revolver shooting. So I'd like to take that and then maybe pass on a little bit. I don't want people to take his class too, but maybe get some people to go out there and take it. Costa's got a really good lever action class, so I'd like to get out and do that sometime next year. So if my wife will let me go out west for a bit. Just some of the off-the-wall stuff. Yeah, she might let me. And then bolt actions. A lot of people gravitate towards the super tactical stuff. And that's cool. I absolutely believe in it. I own it. But for some people, they may have inherited an old bolt action or a lever action or a revolver, and maybe it's not in the cards to go buy something else. So if they can learn to run what they already have, that might be cool. I was going to show some reloading stuff on the channel, but unfortunately, YouTube doesn't like that either. So I can't show you how to make ammo. I don't really want the liability either. So what works for me and hasn't blown up my guns yet doesn't necessarily mean...
Yeah. Well, we know. We know that any kind of ammo talk on YouTube is just pointless to try to put out because they're gonna flag it. Sovereign Ammo experiences that exact problem. They so much so that they can't even name their channel Sovereign Ammo.
Wow.
Sovereign Revolution is what they had to call it. Check out their channel. They're also pretty cool, doing a bunch of great stuff over there. Yeah, they're a great affiliate of ours. They've sent us ammo to shoot, and we love it. We shot a bunch of it at Range Day, and
Oh man, range day was fun, wasn't it?
heck yeah.
So that kind of blows a hole in the whole guns are dangerous arguments, right? Because we had, hundreds, if not thousands, of guns being shot.
Yeah, there were definitely thousands there, but at a time, a couple hundred guns going off at a time.
Full autos, things that are
Right
too
next to each
dangerous
other.
for us to own.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we did have one little safety hiccup.
With the steel at close range, yeah.
Yeah. I've never heard Eric get upset before.
No, I hadn't either.
And
Well,
I
maybe
don't
on
think
a-
anyone has.
I think I heard him get wound up on a gun gripes episode one time, talking about gun laws. But no, not like he did it initially. He was, fired up.
We had just gotten done talking about the safety rules, and specifically he said no rifle caliber rounds, no rifles shooting at the plates at the very front of the line, because those are meant for pistols. And twice in a row somebody did that. And then somebody got injured, caught some slag, and thankfully they weren't badly injured. because they were abiding by other safety rules, which was long pants and,
Eye and
proper
ear
attire.
protection.
Yeah, eye and ear protection.
You ever taken a piece of jacket back
No.
from a target?
Never.
I was shooting at a friend's range, and the dirt berm back there, I guess, had rocks and stuff in it. And I caught a piece of jacket, hit my ear, and that hurt. It was bleeding a little bit. But yeah, huge believer in eye and ear protection. Like the scar I have on my face was from weed eating, of all things. I was wearing sunglasses, and I still don't know what it was that came back and hit me. But I quit cheaping out on eye protection after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, huge. It's shocking too, especially shooting steel. For those that don't know, the steel is a great, fun target to shoot at. But anytime you're using a jacketed bullet or even a plated bullet, that copper can come back. The lead doesn't tend to come back. The copper can. So don't skimp on your eye protection.
Yeah, and I mean, don't skimp on protection in general, no matter what it comes to.
Motorcycles come to mind.
Motorcycles, right? My gear saved my life 2 years ago. I was hit in a hit and run. Lady pulled out in front of me. I had nowhere to go. Thankfully, I stood up on my bike and it popped me over her van instead of into her van. But I flew 85 feet, landed on my head and my shoulder, and broke a bunch of bones, dislocated a bunch of stuff, got a really bad concussion. But just imagine if I wasn't wearing the proper jacket, gloves, boots, and helmet.
Did you ever go through a period riding where you didn't wear all the gear? Like early on when I was riding, I used to just wear the tiny little helmet and call it good.
Yeah, in my younger years,
What did
I
it-
would wear no helmet on a dirt bike.
What did it take for you to start wearing the gear?
Really a nasty fall on the dirt. And so the other thing was a good friend of mine was killed, a few years ago. And that really did something in my mind. When you're younger, you feel like you're invincible, right? And you don't think you can get hurt falling or get hurt getting shot or whatever. You might have this macho mentality. But as you get older, you begin to realize we're just like these sacks of meat and held inside of, a thin layer of skin, right? And we got bones that can shatter and basically become knives within us, right? And cut you up and mess you up.
Nobody talked about how bad the injuries from the early 20s were going to start hurting as time progressed either.
Yeah.
That's what I actually quit riding for 8 years. I had wrecked a Dynaglide in Virginia. Got run off the road by a lady. The lane's narrowed, and I went over here. Tried to keep it on the sidewalk. That didn't work out, so I hit grass. Fortunately, it was on grass. And it was shortly after that I quit riding, and then found out I was going to be a dad. And then eventually my wife was like, hey, you want to do this thing, riding motorcycles? And I said, well, I can't ride. I've got kids. And she said, well, you're always going to want to do it. And my dad had passed away fairly young, and he waited until he was like 50 to start riding. So he only got to ride for a couple of years before he passed away. So we talked about it, and I said, as long as I ride sober, I don't speed, and I wear gear, it's really all I can do. And just those three things have a huge chance of you making it home. So now I do ride again, but I'm very selective. I wear the gloves, the full face helmet. I even have an airbag vest I wear underneath my armored jacket. Will it make a difference? Hopefully.
Gear's super important, dude. I cannot stress enough, like what my head probably would look like if I didn't have a helmet on that day. I wouldn't be alive.
No.
I wouldn't be alive. These states that allow people to ride without a helmet blows me away. It blows me away. And I know, I see a bunch of dudes riding with short sleeves on, right?
No.
And shorts and flip-flops. I see it all the time. I see dudes riding shirtless.
The road rash.
They have never taken a fall.
I was gonna
right?
say.
And there's two types of riders.
Those that have been down and those that are going down.
That's right. Those who have fallen and those who will. And it is absolutely a true fact, right? There's I had told this to someone in my close circle, gear up, gear up. And, you know, he did somewhat, but not to the level that I was recommending. And he took a nasty spill, and we all got scared that day. And when that happened, he realized himself, okay, wait a minute. He's a young father, you know, and he's got a baby on the way.
Right.
And he took a nasty little knock to the head and gave himself a little concussion. And he had a helmet on, you know, but the rest of his gear, he realized, because he got some pretty nasty side rash, you know, the rest of his gear, he realized, okay, I need to upgrade this stuff. The next time we went riding, bro, he was geared up to the gills. And it made me really happy to see that okay, he understands now, you know, and there is an evolution to a rider, I believe.
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely, 100%.
There is an evolution to a rider. It's not just in your skill and in your abilities, but it's like in your philosophy, in the way that you ride, where you ride. All of these things kind of change. You kind of mold yourself into a certain type of rider, right? And you like to ride with like-minded riders. Like I personally, like if you're gonna do wheelies around me and stuff,
No, I'm not about it.
you can get lost, bro.
Anybody that has anything to prove, I don't want to be on the road with.
Yeah, you can get lost, because I'm not trying to get hurt, and I'm not trying to spend my day picking you up off the pavement.
And the wind doesn't feel any better at 100 than it does at 65, 70 on the highway.
Right. I mean, it's exhilarating, but I can tell you, like my two younger brothers, they both love sport bike riding, right? But here's how they do it. They go to a track.
Right, where you don't have the traffic and
Yeah,
people texting or
exactly.
drinking.
And there's, you know, safety services on track.
Yep.
They're wearing full suits, right?
And the track has like the barriers and stuff. It's designed for you to push the limits. You're
Yeah.
a little bit different than guardrails and trees.
Yeah. Yeah, like I watch, you ever watch Max Wrist?
Oh yeah.
Bro, like some of the stuff they're doing up there, come on, guys.
He seems to attract a lot of motorcycle accidents. And I don't know if it's, I saw one theory at some point that he was actually causing people to wreck on the road, like getting in front of them, brake checking them and stuff, and because it was good content. And if that's true, that's pretty crappy behavior.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of you going out there and making other motorcyclists look bad.
Right.
I'm not a fan of that. And that, I feel like that's what he does. And yeah, good for you, bro. Like you get all this clout and everybody loves your videos, and sometimes it's pretty crazy what you're able to pull off. But at the same time, like, is it necessary, and what are you proving?
Right.
You know?
Well, speaking of bikes, what do you ride?
Well, I have 3 bikes. One of which I literally just sold day before yesterday.
Oh man.
Which is my CRF 250 L,
Okay.
which was just a dirt bike. And I didn't ride it very much because I've been riding mostly my Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled. And
awesome.
I love that bike. I love that bike very much. And then I have a Honda Rebel 500. But it's not your typical Rebel 500. It's
Seen some of the pictures.
Yeah,
It's a pretty mean looking bike.
It's definitely mean, but I think I've outgrown it. I want a bigger, more comfortable cruiser for longer trips. I had really just gotten the 500 to be able to toot back and forth from the house to work. You know, it's about 7.5 miles, so just back and forth to work. And but you know, I got it during COVID too, and I got a great deal on it, and I rode the heck out of it. It's been an amazing bike to me, but I prefer to ride the dirt. You know, that's where the fun is. I like being out in the woods and nature. I like being challenged by the technical terrain, and but what I'm realizing about the Ducati is that it's really more meant for desert riding. You know, like it's not meant for the mountainous, rocky terrain that we have here. And so recently I was riding with a bunch of buddies, and my brother, who owns a Husqvarna 701 Enduro.
Okay.
And I had a bald rear tire, and we're on the dirt, and I'm sliding all over the place, and I'm literally like lagging behind everyone. And my brother says, why don't we swap for a few? And I was like, no, bro, you don't want to ride my bike. Like, there's a bald tire on the back, you know. He's like, just get on my bike, right? So I'd never really ridden his bike and pushed it really to its limits at all. And so I got on it and we took off, and I let off, and bro, this thing is a monster.
I've heard good things about the Husqvarna.
So that's why I'm selling my Rebel, and I sold my dirt bike. I'm going to use that money to get me a Husqvarna 701 Enduro.
Nice.
Yeah, man, it's such a cool bike, and I love riding the dirt. To me, that's where you know, you have the most fun, and you're away from, you know, poor drivers, right? You're out in the woods, you're in nature, you're getting fresh air.
My bike's a little heavy for dirt, so I stick to like Forest Service roads, which
Yeah.
is, the gravel is enough of a thing. 2014 Triumph Tiger 1200, so it's heavy.
Yeah.
Actually, that's why I started wearing motorcycle boots. I was doing pretty good with you were talking about evolution of rider. I had the helmet, I had the armored jacket. I was coming in my driveway, which is gravel, and my dog at the time ran out in front of me. And like an idiot, I grabbed the front brake and dropped it on my ankle in the driveway, and it was a pretty nasty bruise. I had no ankle support. I think I was wearing combat boots or something. Virtually no ankle support, any kind of armor or whatever in the boots. So then I ended up getting some adventure boots, which I have like the little metal armor that goes along the outside and inside of the ankle, a little bit more robust. And then I got some better gloves and things like that. But I need to get some actual motorcycle pants. That's the one thing I hadn't done, because I didn't want to get something that I had to change, like if I was going somewhere for the day.
Yeah.
But I did catch a rock to my shin the other day on the road, and that was painful.
I had a piece of rubber come off an 18-wheeler tire and hit me square in the chest, bro. And I was doing like 70 miles an hour, and this thing shot at me, and it like jostled me on the bike, boo, and it like took my breath for a second. And I was like, oh my God, I had to pull over, and I like took my jacket off and checked, and I had this giant red mark on my chest.
Man.
And it was bruised for about 2 weeks, and it was nasty, but it happens, right? And like, just imagine if I was shirtless. That probably would have ripped my skin open.
For sure. Or if you were wearing a non-full face helmet and it hit you in the face.
Bro, yeah. That's another thing, full face helmets. I'm a big fan of full face helmets. So obviously I dirt ride a lot, so I usually get the ones without the visors so I can run goggles. But the safest choice is a full faced helmet.
I was looking at some of the statistics with motorcycle accidents and things like that. Like 40% of riders suffer some sort of facial trauma or their face impacts. And that full face can make a huge difference.
Absolutely, man.
And bugs hurt at 70 miles an hour anyway.
They
so.
sure do. They sure do. Yeah, I remember when I first got my Rebel, this is my first cruiser, so I was like, oh, I'm going to get me a cool skull cap helmet, you know, and then some goggles, some dope goggles, right? And I'm riding down the road, and the first day that I get hit by a bee on my cheek, right? I'm like, I'm never wearing this helmet again.
It's brutal. And the rain, too. The rain hurts. I try not to go out in the rain, but if I'm already out, I'm not going to stop just because it's raining.
Well, speaking of motorcycles, we have our second annual motorcycle charity ride coming up. It's on November 18th. So if you sign up, most people don't know this, but if you sign up for the ride, it's $100. All the proceeds are going to motorcycle missions. They help first responders and veterans suffering from PTSD get into a new trade in the motorcycle world. And if you do sign up for the ride, even if you don't partake or ride, because November 18th is probably going to be a little chilly, and there are some people who prefer not to ride in the cold, and we totally get that. You can join us in a car. You don't have to join us at all, but you will still be entered into the raffle to win a Glock 43X MOS with a custom paint job. That's awesome. You know, that's a pretty cool raffle item. So right now, Ryan, how many people do we have signed up?
6.
We have 6 people signed up. Just imagine what your chances are to win right now.
That's pretty good odds.
That's good odds. So sign up now. We're we're
What's total value? What do we
the total value is like over $1,000 once we do the custom paint job on it, and you get to choose the custom paint job. So you'll win the Glock 43X, but then you'll say, hey Nate, I want stripper camo, and I'll be like, yeah, Teletubbies. There you go, and we'll paint whatever you want on there for you. So yeah, we got that coming up. I'm really excited about that because. Unfortunately, last year I was not able to partake. I was not cleared by the doctor from my motorcycle accident, so I was not able to partake. But this year I will be able to, and I'm really excited about that.
I'm gonna try to make it down myself. That'll be fun. Apple Festival and stuff near where I live, the roads get crazy. And I went to, I was getting my stuff on, it charged up my airbag vest, charged up my GPS and everything, my Bluetooth headset, and I was getting ready to walk out the door. I just had a bad feeling. I came back in, my wife's like, hey, is everything okay with the bike or whatnot? Because I just had the engine rebuilt and stuff a couple months prior. I said, I just don't have a good feeling. And I got on Facebook, and there was this, there had been like 3 or 4 accidents down where I was planning to ride in the span of a couple days. So I just put my helmet and stuff back up. I was like, yeah. So
you know what,
some
dude?
people call me a wussy, but like if I get
No
a
way.
bad feeling, I don't get
Trust
on the bike.
that instinct, man. Trust that instinct. I've had that same exact feeling. My brother and I, we've talked about this a dozen times. Like if that day you're having some kind of weird feeling about riding, don't ride.
No. There's always tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's always.
There always is.
That's the biggest reason I can't go to just well, I'd say second biggest reason. Hard to do landscaping off a motorcycle, but
Definitely.
I like to ride when I want to ride. Like some of these guys, that's their only vehicle, and like hats off to them. Like part of me is like, that's kind of cool, and then no, maybe not.
That's a little
in the middle of
inconvenient
winter,
too,
or
yeah.
bad rainstorm, or just
You got to carry stuff with you.
Yeah. That's something that I'm still figuring out is like I have the storage on the bike on the pannier bags or whatever they call them, the hard cases. And you can put a lot of stuff in there, but like a backpack or something, I had to learn through trial and error like with your chest straps and stuff to kind of tie off your slack because that'll slap you in the neck and stuff going down the road.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't have it situated right and the wind grabs it, like everything's a little different with a backpack. So you see some of these guys with these really big packs that are doing like moto camping and stuff, and man, like a semi truck going by that and the way the air moves and pulls you, a whole new respect for those guys.
Well, you and I are going to do it one day. We're going to go do some moto camping.
I'd be down for it.
I've done it a bunch of times, and I'd like to get a couple of my other buddies involved. In fact, my 2 younger brothers, we talked about this the other day too, doing a moto camping trip when it gets a little bit warmer. Maybe in the spring.
That'd be awesome.
Be a lot of fun.
There's tons of great areas out here too.
Well, Nick, thank you for joining us today here on the podcast. We really appreciate you. If y'all haven't already, go check out Archetype of Man, subscribe to his channel, and let's give our brother some love. Thank you for watching today, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
In the cold king scheme underneath that golden dome. Oh, Charleston, won't you let my people go? With a say